I see you. I know that you don't sleep at night because you're wondering, how is this going to work? You aren't real comfortable knowing that everything you're doing is the right thing. It is, because you're doing it out of love. I would say just listen to the people at Wigs for Kids. If they tell you don't worry, don't. Do yourself a favor. Get that extra 5 minutes of sleep. Don't worry. They've got your back.
We hear so many of the stories of children that have lost their hair and got a wig, and their life has been inspired and their self-esteem has been lifted up. But we also heard stories about children who've cut their ponytails and their life has been impacted. But what about the moms, the dads, the brothers and the sisters that live through this journey with these children? What did they experience? What are they going through? It's a part of the beautiful picture that Wigs for Kids provides, not only wigs, but we provide the care so that a parent who gives their child everything from medical, care to loving care, school and educational care, but can't give them hair again. That's where we come in and partner with them. So I'm going to introduce you to a beautiful, beautiful mother of a beautiful child of ours that's been with us for quite a few years.
Hi, it's good to be here. My name is Verna Ann Kotansky, and I am the proud mother of Emily Kotansky, who has been a recipient of Wigs for Kids for, we were counting, I think since 2008, maybe.
She was such a brave soul because she was so shy when we first met her. No child ever coming into Wigs for Kids have ever come in bouncing and saying, I want a wig. It's not something they want. I want hair, but I don't want a wig. And it's interesting, the transition that takes place in a child once they adopt that wig or that hairpiece for their best suitable use, and how important it is for them to, just have that for them.
Definitely. So with Emily's case, we actually had a hairpiece first. It was like this cap that was clipped on. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out like how we were going to do this, how we were going to care for it. Here we are given this wonderful gift. It's like glass, don't break it. So there was all of that added stress, but of course not letting Emily see that side of it. And she wore that cap for a while until probably that made her it through 5th grade. And then 6th grade, the most heartbreaking appointment was when we went back to Wigs for Kids, and you were like, I think it's time that we graduate to something a little bigger. And while that was a great thing that it was available to us, to hear that, it was a gut punch. And at that time, so it was going into middle school. So you're dealing with middle school, hormones and just feeling awful. And just in general, nobody wants to go back to middle school, I'm sure. And on top of it, your hair is falling out. Everybody at Wigs for Kids couldn't have been more compassionate and helping us guide Emily through this incredibly emotional time, and realizing, no, we've got this. There's nothing that we can't do, There were plenty of times at home when Emily was at a low point and we were trying to lift her up. We'd be like, well, you get to see Jeffrey in a couple of days. That would definitely make everything all better. It was quite the journey.
You're going through that journey as a parent. And it's not like going to the PTA and talking to the PTA parents about children not reading fast enough or going through their situation of not spelling words or whatever it might be. You're dealing with something that you really don't have quite the community of people around you to really just digest and dialogue and really to come together. Did you find anybody through the organization, or did you find anybody, that parents that had the similar type of situations that helped you?
It was nice because as Emily began to grow and become more confident, she began to do more speaking and more engagements with Wigs for Kids. So we were excited about that. And going to the Wigs for Kids walk, our first walk was that moment where parents were, of course, with their kids. We didn't have to do a lot of talking. It was more of that look that you gave each other, like, okay, you're not alone and it'll be okay. And there was a little girl who was younger than Emily that used to do that. They would, speak together, whatever. And that mom would always be like, well, what did you do for this? And I'm like, oh, don't worry. this is how you're going to handle that. It'll be a piece of cake, and just tell them, or ask them, for what you need. One of our bigger things that as a more veteran parent was the swimming cap that you helped us kind of piece together. Emily, we were going to the beach. She hadn't been to the beach. We hadn't been to the beach in forever. And there was no way that kid was going to go without her wig on the beach. It just wasn't an option. So I began to investigate like what things were possible, because I did not want sand in that precious hairpiece. And that's when we found that Namu Cap Company, which specializes in bathing caps for individuals with alopecia. And then you helped us put on a ponytail onto the back of it, so it looked like she was just wearing like just a cap and her hair was coming out. And I was explaining to the mom that we would never let Emily get blonde wigs because nobody in our family is blonde. It just wouldn't make sense. But she was allowed to get the blonde wig for the Namu cap. And that was, a huge, huge accomplishment for Em to now be a blonde. But to be able to share that with the other parents, realizing that, yeah, it's something as little as a ponytail, and having that choice and feeling normal, that made the difference. Being able to share and look into the eyes of another parent, realize that you're not alone, and that you're doing everything you possibly can to make their life as possible, and to know that it's okay. And the number of times that I would kind of, ask a parent or some of the older girls that were in Wigs for Kids, like, how did you, style it or wash it? Like, she wants it curly for whatever. And the older girls too would say, oh, no problem. When you put it on the stand at night, scrunch it, and all of that kind of thing. So it's more of the unsaid emotions that you are able to share with parents. Just the look and the knowing that, okay, we've got this. We're in the right place. We're doing the right thing. I see you. I know that you don't sleep at night because you're wondering, how is this going to work? You aren't real comfortable knowing that everything you're doing is the right thing. It is, because you're doing it out of love. I would say, just listen to the people at Wigs for Kids. If they tell you don't worry, don't. Do yourself a favor. Get that extra 5 minutes of sleep. Don't worry. They've got your back. Your child will be okay. It is amazing how resilient these little people are, especially when it's at the middle and high school level. Ugh, my heart goes out to you. I know I'm on the other side of it. And I'm here to tell you that for every minute you worry, there are going to be about 100 more minutes where you won't need to worry. That cap's not going to fall off. She'll be able to be in marching band. She'll be able to be in tennis club. She'll be able to do prom and everything else. Don't worry. They've got it. And when you try to wash the wig and you're afraid you're going to do something horrible to it, you won't. And if you do, don't worry. They've got you. I would say, I hear you, I see you, and you're not alone.
You choked me up. You choked me up. Now, give us the update of my dear Emily, because I miss her so much. What is she doing? What is she doing?
So, like I said, she's an old lady now, but she is full-time nanny to 2 families that absolutely adore this woman. And, she's killing it, taking care of these toddlers and preschoolers. Emily currently has her natural hair back. I know, right? And so that happened during the COVID year for the most part. So we started seeing some peach fuzz her senior year, which was 2020. Mm-hmm. And then in the past year or 2 years, it has come back. But we don't take it for granted ever. And so, we just, thank God every day that we wake up with a full head of hair. Though she maintains her wigs, she has a routine, and everybody, they're our friends. So we have like a wall of wigs from the years of having them. And it's so true what you said earlier. Kids who are full-time wig wearers need a new wig every year. And you would think, well, what possibly could happen? It is amazing the wear and tear because Emily would never take hers off, like even in the house. It was always on. But the difference between just the appearance of and the feel of a new wig over one that has been used. And she maintains them like a champ. And so even now she talks to the girls and I hear her up there and she's, still get our number 4 and number 5 and we're spritzing away. So yeah, that's what she's doing. She's in a great place and we're just fortunate. I want to address the people who are donating your hair. Thank you. You have no idea what your selfless act and simple act of cutting your hair means, not only to a child, but to their family. The family has no idea the weight that they're carrying until the minute that wig goes on that child's head and that weight is lifted. It's real. So your ponytail means a lot to people you'll never meet. So on their behalf, I say thank you. To the donors, your financial contribution is incredible. From 10 cents to $10 million. If you have that, go ahead and give it. It means the world. To know that financial piece of this incredible gift is something a family does not need to burden it's priceless. There aren't words for it. I can't thank you enough. On behalf of all the families and recipients, thank you for your generosity. And to Wigs for Kids volunteers and people the salons that sign up for and go through all the training to make sure you're sizing the people correctly. Thank you. You have my heart and you have the hearts of parents around the world.